So Miami had a bit of a rough patch recently, and it had the whole internet going, wait, what's going on right now? And then they had a pretty good win in Boston last night. I think the biggest thing for the Heat's offense, if we can run this play back, is that they were attacking the Celtics drop coverage. As you see Daniel Tice dropping the Celtics, they like to switch a lot of actions, but they chose to play safer with their bigs last night. And so Miami viewed that as just something to get their stuff going. They still had to make difficult shots, but it's just a little easier to get something like this off for Lowry when you're not worried as much about Horford coming up on you as well, so it's mainly Tatum's job to do that. I think Tatum still did an okay job, but it was a source of offense for Miami, and of course that has been like a little trickier to come around for them recently. I mean, here's another one. These are all just in a row. This is Max Strus handoff, and I mean, you're just asking the perimeter guys to stay on him, basically. The other thing that happened last night was that Jimmy Butler made a good amount of his jump shots, specifically from mid-range, and that is so important for them because Jimmy, of course, he's great at inside scoring and drawing fouls, but teams are going to dare him to shoot, and outside of the bubble where his mid-range went God mode, for most of his career he's been like decent but not amazing from there. We also saw about 30 minutes from Max Strus and like 15 minutes from Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson has not had the best season, and Strus can still make those moving threes, similar to Robinson. The one thing with Duncan, even as his percentages have not been as good this season, a little more up and down, he still has the gravity. Okay, defenders are always going to respect him, which does still matter, even if you would love to see him be a little more consistent from outside. The other thing with Max Strus was that he made some pretty big defensive plays in the fourth quarter, like this switch on Tatum. If we can look at that possession for the Celtics again, it reminded me of some of the uglier times with their offense this season, which is basically not respecting the shooters too much. In this play right here, this is just some beautiful Miami Heat defense with communication and rotations and the whole thing with Strus blocking Jalen. We'll start it again. They double Tatum. You have Bam, who steps up on Marcus. Again, you see Tyler Hero. He's not super respecting Derek White. And then as the play goes, Lowry holds up real well on Jalen. Strus rotates over. And I would like to take a look at some of Tyler Hero's assists. So as I was saying earlier, more of going at the Celtics drop coverage. I mean, if they're switching all over the place, even if Horford's good, you'd rather go at that than just try to beat the switches all of the time. I feel like this one is kind of similar to that as well. It's basically, hey, Derek White, get around the screen, stick to Hero. Tatum, you help out, and if you got to close out to Lowry, do it, but we don't want to take the big guy out of the drop and put them in rotation too much. I got to talk about this Bucks-Sixers game from the other day. Giannis made 5 jump shots. What's kind of crazy is, for the season, he's shooting 42% for mid-range, but in his last 15 games, he's actually over 50%. And these are tough mid-rangers that he's taken, man. I mean, you can say to yourself, well, look, at least he's not killing us inside. And from an objective standpoint, I mean, this is still better than him doing all that, but man, it's got to be demoralizing for him to make a shot like this. I remember this one. This was like some Kobe-esque, like fourth quarter, just deep two-pointer. Like, what the hell do you do? This play from the Bucks was super interesting, where Giannis and Middleton basically traded places at the free throw line, and then Middleton screened for Drew, and then we had the Giannis block. I appreciate how this rebound went right to Embiid on some Hall of Fame 2K stuff. But yeah, that was a nutty play by Giannis. Porzingis just had a big game against the Magic. If you were to look at KP's numbers with the Wizards compared to Dallas, you might think, oh, he's basically the same guy, but if you really dig deep into the numbers, there's some things to notice. For one, his post-ups have been more successful with the Wizards so far, small sample size, and it could just be because of the mid-range, where he has shot over 50% with them. But hey, you know what? Maybe some of that's psychological, just the idea of leaning on him a little bit more. Granted, Jason Kidd also leaned on him a little more for these types of shots, so I don't know, but it would be great for him if this holds up. His free throw attempts have also been a bit higher with the Wizards, 7 free throw attempts per game compared to 5 with Dallas. Maybe this is a coincidence with the free throw attempts, maybe it's not. He's only played center for the Wizards. It's been a whole lot of this, 4 perimeter players with KP at center. And even with all those perimeter guys, he has been tied in touches per game since they got him, and he's had some moments as a passer. I believe Porzingis actually has more career turnovers than assists. But when you have him as the lone dude in the middle, and you need somebody to create for you, suddenly it's like, wait a minute, could he creep up with his assist numbers? You space the floor out, you get some cutters moving around him, and this is basic post-up stuff. That's a damn good skip pass. It's something to monitor, and something for the Wizards to explore more of. We're of course going to have to see what he looks like with Bradley Beal next season. But so far, the Wizards, they're pretty much letting Porzingis be Porzingis. They're putting him at center, they're giving him the ball, and okay.